Now we review Sonic the Hedgehog 3. We kind of skipped Sonic the Hedgehog 2, though. Saw Sonic the Hedgehog 1. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so I have just seen Sonic the Hedgehog 3. I vaguely remember Sonic the Hedgehog 1, and I'm kind of remember seeing... I checked, I didn't review it, and I don't know who Knuckles is, so I guess I didn't see 2. I'm not a video game fan to begin with. I mean, I know about Sonic the Hedgehog, sort of, but the storyline doesn't mean anything to me. Before I go any further, let me say that for every 1,000 subscribers I get, I do purchase one of these bracelets from 4Ocean. 4Ocean pulled a pound of trash out of the ocean every time I do that. If you'd be so kind as comment, like, and subscribe, you'd be doing your part for a better world. And given the fact that this movie is about saving the world, as these kinds of movies, I guess, are, I guess that makes sense. Yes, so the premise of this film is that there is a hedgehog named Shadow who has something to do with chaos energy, and this particular hedgehog, being a damaged, broken, and angry creature because his best friend bought it, is hell-bent on revenge, and this hedgehog is now in league with old Robotnik. There's Robotnik and old Robotnik. There's, like, you know, Eggman and Rotten Eggman. So it's like... I vaguely remember a scene where Robotnik was trapped on another world or something like that. And that's the last movie I think I saw. So I'm guessing that's the first one. I really should see the second one just to get caught up. But anyway, you have Sonic the Hedgehog has his 2 parental figures. He's apparently some kind of a superhero. And he has Knuckles and Tails, I think is the name, who are his 2 weird alien friends who go about, you know, doing saving the world-esque things, because that's who they are. So you've got, in this, you've got the two parental type people, the 3 good guy supernatural critters from other worlds, the 1 bad guy supernatural critter from the other world, and then 2 Robotniks. Yes, okay, so there's a lot of moving parts here, which is not a good thing. But, yeah, I will say that yes, Idris Elba, great job as Knuckles. Kind of an underutilized character, but when he's utilized, he is utilized well. Could have used a lot more of him and more of his backstory because I don't know it, but I guess that was in the second film. Keanu Reeves as Shadow, the Chaos Energy Hedgehog. I can't believe that sentence just came out of my mouth. Yeah, he's a very stoic character. It's almost like it was really expensive to get Keanu Reeves for this role, so they didn't have him do a lot of talking. Which, I mean, you know, and they're saying he's at his most Keanu Reeves. I don't know if I would call it his most Keanu Reeves. I personally would have said that this is somewhere between Neo and Constantine, but let's just to be clear, Reeves' interpretation of Constantine was very Reevesian. Normally Constantine is a more animated character, so I don't know if I mean, I think they do give him roles where he does less talking and more just emoting. But yeah, look, this film was a lot of fun, particularly in the end. I felt it somewhat lagged in the middle, and, you know, further along those lines, yeah, the human storyline was a bit, it just tonally didn't mesh as well. There's this weird moment where the Robotniks start dancing, and I'm going, okay, I guess this is funny. I mean, I don't, I, this is a movie where you've either got the more serious elements and the comedic elements are kind of hitting each other, so to speak. So, I mean, it's not that like the work with Jim Carrey. I'm going to admit that you could. There's one point where it really looks like they had a second actor dancing with Jim Carrey because the two characters were not the same height, and I mean, yeah, that only adds to the ambiance if they did have one character was a different height than the other character, because they hang a lantern on the fact that Jim Carrey is playing both characters. And, you know, it's one of those things that as an actor, fun characters are fun to play, and he's got, you know, his evil self and his super evil self. It's like in an old episode of Ren and Stimpy where Ren was split into two, and, you know, it was his evil self and his hideously evil self. That's a lot of fun, actually. So, yeah, I would say that primarily what this movie is good at is the visuals. There's a lot of, you know, pretty lights, and there's that emerald thing, and Sonic turns gold and flies through the air, and all those sorts of things. It's a little on the predictable side, because you're looking at this and going, well, I mean, it's a kid's movie. You kind of expected that. And I can't say that I was surprised by anything in this movie. There were moments that it's like, well, I'm not surprised, but it's silly and weird. I mean, when I looked at the IMDb score, I agreed with it. It's getting a C plus or a 7.5. And, you know, this movie, it starts out, it gets to the action pretty quickly, which is good, but it doesn't explain characters, so if you're not already a fan, you might have a little trouble with this film, and it lags in the middle a bit. Other than that, it's like, yeah, okay. I wish there was more explanation of, like, the rings, which are from the game, and I guess they do things, and where the supply of them comes from. You know, Knuckles apparently has a backstory. He is a warrior from some kind of a species. I don't get these things. I mean, I don't remember the first movie. It was a long time ago. And I didn't see the second movie, so I'm a little lost. And that's just a sign of it being a weak movie, is that if you haven't seen the first two films, there's a lot you don't get out of this film. So that's a problem. And that's where I pretty much think I stand on it, is that if you're not a fan of the franchise, you're probably not going to enjoy this movie as much. You will get it in the end. I mean, it's not a bad movie by any means. So it does belong in the upper middle of your watch list. Not, like, close to the top, but this is a solid film to watch, particularly if you have children. But if you are a fan of the franchise, this is a lot of fun. It is a film that's going to harken back to the video games and probably the first two movies, and you'll just have a ball with it. So that's where it is. I mean, if you're already into the franchise, this is going to be like your favorite candy. If you're not into the franchise, you're probably still going to enjoy this film, but you're just not going to love it. So, you know, upper middle of the watch list, fun family film. It has a good moral, and whereas they kind of whack you in the face with that moral, it's never overwhelming or overbearing. So anyway, that's just my opinion. I'd love to hear yours down in the comments below. I'm Richard.
Greetings, humanity. I'm Randall the Rat, and I'm here to remind you that, well, you should probably comment, like, and subscribe now. And why? Well, the world isn't all that great, and Random Street Theater here is trying to change it. We do things like have trash removed from the ocean, pay for trees to be planted, and even feed orphans. And you can help. You can comment, like, and subscribe. And it's free. When you think about it, if you don't do those things, well, what are you saying? Are you saying you don't care about the ocean and trees and even orphans? Well, sounds like you're a bad human. And you have a delicious face.